back to Through the Veil with Elle and Camille. I'm Rachel.
I'm Elle.
And this is the podcast where we seek to demystify, develop, and celebrate our spiritual gifts all through a faith-based lens. Camille is unfortunately sick this week, so we wish her a quick recovery and lots of rest. But today is a special episode, and we're going to do something we've never done before on the podcast. Elle is going to give someone she's never met and never seen and knows absolutely nothing about besides what she sees right now on the camera, a live session or reading. So to preface this, the reason why we haven't done anything like this before on the podcast is because we want to be clear that the spiritual gifts of beholding angels and discerning spirits and any other spiritual gifts for that matter are not party tricks. But we do know that this is a super valuable gift to see in action, especially because everyone has different skills and strengths and methods. So we are going to jump in and introduce you to Haley.
Hi, Haley.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
I know Haley from church. We met there. We are newish friends. She's fantastic, but that's all I'm going to say because I don't want Elle to be biased or know any other information about her.
We typically like to start sessions that way because they work a lot with evidential kind of information to bring through. So the evidence that I bring through first when I connect with your loved ones on the other side has a couple of different purposes. One of those is that it establishes their identity, so we get to know who they are. And also I think it kind of like opens the heart of the person, you in this case, and help you really make that connection with your loved one on the other side. It really like suspends all of those doubts and things that we have and really helps you feel like they're here and feel present with you because obviously I've just met you. We've spoken like 3 sentences to each other. And I don't know any of your information or any of your people. So it can be a really good like icebreaker for the messages that tend to come through after that evidence. So generally it will start with evidence. If you've seen anybody work before with spirit communication, you probably have an idea. No? Okay.
No, I'm not familiar really.
Good. A lot of people have seen people like Teresa Caputo is one of the biggest names right now, do things kind of similar to this. So essentially how it works is I am going to make my connection. I'm going to open my open sign to the other side to let them know that I'm ready to work and ready to start bringing through those messages and connecting with your people on the other side, which I do when I work. So most of the time I have that closed so that I can focus on my life and they're not popping in and telling me stuff all the time. They're going to start bringing me information through our 5 spiritual senses, which reflect our 5 physical senses. So I will see things, I will hear them speak to me sometimes, I will get feelings and emotions that they give me. And sometimes it'll just be an inspiration, a knowledge. There's also smelling and tasting, which are less common and less useful, but do sometimes happen. Then I have to take all this information and put it into English words because it's not always, readily in words. It's fantastic if someone comes through and tells me, I'm her mom. I'm like, thank you. But a lot of time it'll be more like they'll show me something about who they are. They'll show me their face or even their whole body or maybe parts of them. Sometimes it's just their eyes. Sometimes features on their face like a nose shape or how they did their hair or the things that they used to wear. Sometimes I'll feel that relationship. And different spirits, just like different people, have different ways of communicating. You have people who are really touchy-feely. You have people who are really verbal. You have people who are more like visual learner types. And so each spirit kind of communicates in their own way. And so I take that and I'm basically a translator who then puts that into a way that you can understand. So one of the most important things for you to remember is that everything that comes through is for you. It's not for me. Sometimes they'll talk in symbolic ways or they'll give me something. And sometimes it is a symbol that I have to interpret. I have a couple that I'm like, okay, for me, this means this. Sometimes it's for you. Sometimes they'll make a reference to something that I won't understand that you are meant to interpret. Okay. And so keep that in mind. I'm coming into this completely blind. It's like going onto a stage blindfolded. I have no idea what's going to happen. I have no idea what they're going to tell me. I don't know anything about who's going to come through. But hopefully you know something about that. I don't have any of the context. They'll just tell me things. You have the context and the backdrop, right? So I try not to make assumptions because I don't know anything about them. And then that's up to you to we have to put it into place and work through that. Okay. So as this information comes through, I'll feed it kind of to you. I'll tell you what they're giving me, and then you can go ahead and let me know. I understand that this is accurate. Yes, this is what that is. And we'll follow through along with that. If you have any questions throughout the whole process, please ask. I work a bit differently than a lot of people who do this. Not that you have had experience in that, but I like this to be a very interactive experience. It's important to me that you make that connection with your loved one on the other side as
Yeah.
well. It's not just me talking at you. Okay. So if you have any questions that you want to cover, we're on air. So if you don't want to cover anything too personal and they get personal, let me know and we can back off from it, because sometimes, anything is free game to them. They're going to talk about whatever they want to talk about, right? I have no control over that, but we can ask them to maybe keep it for later. We can come back and talk about something like that off of the air if there are sensitive subjects that you'd rather not approach in a public forum.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's
Um,
good to know. Thank you so much.
one last thing, they don't have any physical restrictions or boundaries. So they are not seers or psychics. They aren't prophets. They're not going to tell the future. Unfortunately, they can't give us the lottery numbers. But um, they have a very broadened perspective of what's going on around us right now. So they're not going to tell you the future, but they can let you know insights and things that are currently going on in your life. And the information that they give you is going to be what they would have told you while they were alive, maybe with a little bit more wisdom, right? It's going to be more like advice. So take it as such. They're not going to tell you what choices to make in your life or what things to do or things like that. That's entirely up to you. You don't have to take the advice that they give you either. Okay. All right.
That totally makes sense.
Some things, if they make reference to something we don't understand, I may tell you to shelf it, put it in your back pocket. Sometimes in the moment of a reading or a session, um, we might forget a reference or it might not make sense to us, but it usually does in later context. Or it could be just, I'm just wrong. I'm not perfect. I'm a human being. So I might not fully understand and bring something through clearly. But a lot of times, if it doesn't make sense in the moment and it's important, they'll circle back around to it. Or you may understand the reference tomorrow or next week. I've had people come back a whole year afterwards and tell me something made sense that they had in a session with me, but didn't understand at the time. If you don't get it, I can try to ask clarifying questions and we can see if we can find an understanding to things that they're referencing. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I have no idea what's going to happen. So just roll with it. There are two ways that this can function. We can do it generally, see generally who you have on the other side that would like to come through with messages, or we can focus on a specific person. So if you have someone that you would love to contact specifically, I can go find them. So what would you like to do?
Um, I don't know. I'm kind of open either way. Like I do have somebody in mind, but like I don't have anything like specific that I would like ask either, if that makes sense.
Okay. We can kind of do something general and see who comes through. If people are coming in that you don't necessarily want to talk to, we can ask them to take a back seat and we'll ask that person that you would like to hear from to come forward and see if we can find them. So don't let me prattle on and talk to someone you don't want to talk to if there's someone you'd rather
Okay.
hear from. Okay. All right. I have a really quick little warm-up thing that I do for myself. I will start with a prayer, which I usually say silently to myself. If you want to take that moment, it's usually no more than like 30 seconds. You can say your own prayer if that suits you. You can kind of set an intention. You can ask for those people that you'd like to hear from to come forward and develop clear messages. And then I kind of, like I said, I turn on my open sign. I let them know that I'm ready to work. And then usually someone will step forward and I'll start bringing through information. All right.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and do that right now. Okay, immediately I feel a couple of female presences coming through. There is definitely at least one grandparent here, but there is also someone who's a bit younger who is female. Which one of those people would you like me to try to focus in on?
Um, I think I'm knowing who they both are, but maybe the younger one.
Okay. Grandmother is a little bit pushy. She kind of wants to come forward first. So I'm going to ask her to kind of hold back and wait for just a second. Okay. Um, this younger woman coming through would be someone who is closer in relationship to you. It feels like a sister or a friend type relationship, someone you know very well. Does this person, or do you recognize a person like this on the other side?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. Okay, we'll follow this forward. Okay. Um, she shows me that well, they can appear at whatever age they would like to, first of all, because they don't have a physical body anymore. But the age that she's showing me seems to be someone who would be in her um 20s, I would say. She looks relatively young and she has brown hair. It's kind of more longish, hits her shoulders. Um, I would say she has kind of an average frame, somebody like that. She's got a very open face. She seems very, very friendly. Um, Her eyes would be a hazel color, probably. Do you recognize this person?
I think that's my cousin, Chelsea.
Okay. She shows me that she had a good bond with you. Like your relationship would have been relatively close. You would have known each other pretty well. Would you recognize she passed kind of suddenly? Um, was it illness related?
Um, no, there's two people
Okay.
it could be. My mom passed illness related.
Okay.
Um,
Is there a cancer
uh,
connection with one of them?
mhm,
Okay. Would that be your mother?
yes.
Okay. Okay. I was, she's talking to me. Okay. Slow down. We'll back up. So she's indicating that there seems to be a family resemblance that is like pretty consistent throughout your family, that you guys kind of have a similar appearance. And so there is something sometimes that happens that's called piggybacking when two spirits come in with a similarity. And then we have to kind of pull them apart because they either have a similar appearance or a similar voice. So she's letting me know that this is why they came through together. Also, that they had a good relationship. So they were two people that would have known of each
Those
other and been pretty close.
they were raised like sisters, even though it was
Yeah.
like a niece and an aunt.
Yeah, so they have a very close relationship, which is why they came through together. They have good natured, good humored relationship. They're like joking with each other about how they are mistaken to be the same person. So, okay, we're gonna focus on your mother. Is this the person that you would like to talk to? She seems to like want to jump forward and have something to say for you. She says that she passed way too young and that she left you way too young. And was this prior to having children? She's talking about having children and missing out on that. This is a really sticking
Yeah.
point because, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, you're good. She
Um,
just like really wanted to be a grandma.
yes, she's letting me know this is a huge thing in your relationship with her, both because she feels like you're afraid she missed out on that, but also like missing having a mother present when you came into parenthood is a huge deal. Like it's a huge deal. You always expected, and she was a good mom. She's like, not to like brag, but she feels like a really good parent. I feel like you had a really loving relationship with her, the kind of like open relationship where you confided in her a lot. She was there for you a lot. She was like your leaning person, right? That you could lean on.
Mhm.
So it's a huge loss in your life to not have that as you come into parenthood and not know who to ask for um, like help or have questions with. She's making a reference to your mother-in-law. Is your mother-in-law someone that you have a difficulty leaning on with this kind of thing?
Um, no, not exactly. Like I love my mother-in-law. But I did feel like I had to kind of like ask to not be mothered, I guess. Like I didn't
Yeah.
want a replacement.
She's saying that there was a difficulty with your mother-in-law, particularly when you had kids. Maybe it's the overstepping or maybe it's
I
not.
don't have kids yet,
Okay.
so
There
but
is
I could see that happening.
there's some kind of a tension there with that. Um, was this passing within the past 5 years or so?
Yeah, it was about a year and a half ago.
Okay. It feels very recent. It feels like this is more of a loss that you're continuing to understand and work through. She shows me that this progression of illness that she faced, it is at once drawn out, but also quick. Like you guys weren't expecting a diagnosis like this. And yet it seemed, at least from her perspective, to last a really long time in its progression until like she fought it. I feel like she did fight it for quite some time before
Yeah,
finally,
she was sick for like 11 years.
yeah,
Um, but it was like pretty consistent and then it turned into brain cancer really fast and
really
she passed
fast.
within like a month.
Um, she was a fighter. I feel like there was a good deal of spunk in her. She survived for her children, is she's telling me. It was like for her family. Did she do chemo and radiation? I feel like that was very hard
Yeah.
on her body. She's showing me a lot of sickness, a lot of illness with those kinds of things, with the effects of that. Did she show me her hair? Did her hair fall out? Did she lose hair?
Yeah, we ended up having to shave her head. I learned how to
Yeah.
henna so that I could henna her scalp.
That's so cool. She showed me that was a big thing for her because it she's liking it. She's likening it to people who have breast cancer, who have to get a double mastectomy. It changes something about your appearance to such a drastic degree that it almost alters who you perceive that you are. And she's showing me that with her hair. It's like, it doesn't seem like quite a big thing. I don't feel like she was a really vain person who would always be super done up or anything, but it drastically was altering who she perceived that she was. And it was really hard on her psychologically to have that loss. But it was another one of those things she also accepted kind of with grace, I feel like, where it was just very practical, like, okay, it's progressed to this point now. This is what
Mhm.
has to be done. Um, she didn't seem like the kind of person who tried to dwell on things negatively. She was like a move forward type. This is how it is, and we have to move on kind of person. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, she's talking again about children. This could be a sensitive subject. Is there difficulty with having children right now?
Yeah, my husband and I have been trying for like maybe 8 months and I had a miscarriage in May.
Yeah, this is what she's talking about. It seems to be there's some frustration with trying to get pregnant and not getting pregnant, and a lot of worry. She's showing me on your part, there's a lot of anxiety that you have about whether or not it's going to happen. And she shows me that this weighs on you. It's like it nags you in the back of your mind a lot. You
Mhm.
find yourself thinking about whether or not this is going to happen. She wants to assure you that you have little spirits that are waiting for you on the other side. Um, is your husband lighter hair colored? For some reason, she's shown me a little girl and she seems to have a lighter hair color.
No,
So
but all of my nieces are on his side.
interesting. She's bringing forward this little girl spirit, particularly. She wants to hit on this. I don't know if and when you have children, if this will be your first child or some child later on down the line, but she wants to comfort you and tell you that there are spirits waiting for you on the other side. Um, she wants to address this miscarriage. She says that this was a point of particular difficulty for you. Like there was a lot of anticipation that came up around getting pregnant. And there's this huge buildup and then a sudden letdown of disappointment.
Yeah, it's kind
Um,
of a scary circumstance.
would you understand that it's wrapped up in a lot of pain?
Yeah.
Um, there was a hospital visit with this. Was there something to do with medical?
Um, so I didn't go to the hospital. I thought about it, but my husband was actually out of town and I didn't have access to a
Oh my
car.
gosh,
It was like a very
that is
complicated
scary.
situation.
Um,
But I also visited the hospital recently because I have a lot of friends who are pregnant and one of them's been really sick.
oh, she's making reference to a hospital. Let me see what this is. It's wrapped up in the pregnancy, so it may be in relation to your friend. Did you have questions about getting like a DNC or something with a miscarriage?
I didn't end up having one. I
Yeah,
did talk with a doctor about it, and
about it.
then I see a doctor regularly for like
For
hormone stuff.
um, she's making a reference to getting that cleared out, and she's saying in this circumstance, she's talking about you being like wondering if that was necessary or if that was like the right choice to make with that. And she's saying it was. Like, you didn't have to have that. It's not going to prevent you from getting pregnant again in the future. I know that tracks for you, but she keeps bringing that up again. Um, she says you have really good medical care and they're giving you really good advice for what you need to do in order to get pregnant again. It's really important to her to kind of allay your concerns with this, because it does
Mm-hmm.
feel like something it's on the front of your mind. It's been weighing on you a lot. I feel like she was with you in that moment when you were so scared. It's important for her to tell you that because you felt very alone in that moment and very confused. Like you didn't know what to do and you didn't have anybody to call. And it was very scary. Was it at night? It feels like you're like alone in
Mhm.
the dark.
Yeah, it was like 11:30 at night.
Yeah. And like everybody's asleep and it's just you and you're like, I don't know what to do and who to call. This is the first time this has ever happened.
Yeah.
Um, she shows me she's like standing right next to you and she's trying to like give you all of that comfort of her presence and like help you navigate decision making, particularly because it feels like there were some really quick decisions that you had to make in that moment and you weren't really sure about what to do. And so she was in a sense kind of like holding your hand and helping you make the right choices because you're afraid to make the wrong one. She's got a lot of excitement with you for this coming phase of your life. And she says she wants you to know that she's going to be really present in it and that she already knows the children that you have coming. She's going to like hand them off to you from the other side. She says there's select spirits that she wants to hand off to you from the other side. Also,
She would say that.
she really likes your husband. She's mentioning your husband. She thinks he's going to be a really good father. Would you understand that he has a lot of patience?
Yes, so much.
Yeah,
I should
he's
get
like
him
a
up with
very
me.
steady. Yeah, he's a very steady kind of like even keeled temperament type person. She's like, he's going to have a lot of patience with your children. She's bringing up work. Is there something shifting with a job or a career opportunity with you right now?
Um, yeah, both with me and my husband. I don't know if you want me to like talk about it or
Let me see what she has to say about this. There seems to be a lot shifting in your life right now. There's like a lot
yeah,
of
everything's kind of
movement
just hanging in the air right
up in the
now.
air. Yeah, she's talking about pieces turning and there's a lot of questions that you guys have about what to do and the choices to make and where you're going and stuff like that. She's like, I can't give you all the answers because I'm not allowed, though she feels like she wants to. um, she says that your husband has a really good head on his shoulders and he makes really smart decisions, um, particularly with money, with finances. She's talking about him being really good with money and finances and that he's not going to make any choices that put you guys in a precarious place with that you're going to be stable. Is he feeling like he wants to make a job shift? Is there like some kind of a change, a jump from one thing to another thing that's going on right now?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest work-related change.
Yeah. I feel like she's showing me he's kind of bored or unsatisfied with where he's at, and there's something that he else that he'd rather do.
He's
Go ahead.
currently like in a band and also works as an engineer, but he's been thinking about med school for the last couple of
Okay.
years. But he's like a fully certified engineer, so it feels kind of
So
silly.
why make
Like,
the change? His
yeah,
so she likes him a lot. She's like, again, he's like a really smart guy. He's got a good head on his shoulders as far as making level-headed decisions go. Um, And it seems like satisfaction is something that's important to him in the workplace. It seems like something that he wants to be satisfied with what he's doing, right? He needs to feel like
yeah,
he's making a difference and he's giving his all to whatever he wants to do. Um, and it feels like he's leveled out, is what she's showing me. Like he's just not going anywhere where he is. He feels like he can't advance or do anything um, really productive, I guess, like really to better the world around him or like to like give. Does that make sense? It's a
hmm
feeling. Putting the feelings into words are the hardest
no,
part.
yeah, I get you.
You
I
guys have
can't
been
imagine
wrestling with
that.
this decision for a little bit. It feels like it's not a recent like snap decision kind of thing. It's something he's been churning over for quite some time that he's
Hmm.
been kind of thinking about, but he doesn't want to step into something too quickly if it's a foolish choice. She's like, that's exactly the reason why he's a smart choice for us. he's, he's going to make good decisions because he really thinks about these things and
Yeah,
their
he does.
outcomes in your family and your life, almost to the point maybe it's too slow, where it's like,
Yeah. Well,
it's taking too
he
long,
felt
it's
like
too hesitant.
he felt like he had a really distinct, like, spiritual impression of
Impression,
some kind that he was supposed to go, like, 2 years ago, and he just keeps, like, kind of putting it off, and
waffling
he
back and forth
recently
on it,
has felt like that has started to come back, that feeling of, like,
like a
maybe I'm
push.
actually supposed to do
It's a
this.
push.
Yeah.
Hmm. Does he have a grandfather on the other side?
Yeah, his grandfather passed away recently.
I feel like this is coming from a grandfather for him. This new pushing that's at it is coming from a grandfather angle. Your mother is acknowledging that, but they're both there. And she says that the choice is still up to him, but if he chooses that, he will be very supported and you guys will be taken care of. He has the distinct ability for both of these life paths, but the challenge that is going to come from taking this different direction, he can fully meet and you will be supported in his choice in doing that. She says that ultimately this choice is up to him, but he knows in his heart like what he needs to do and that he should follow that instinct, that spirit led decision that he is getting the direction that he has. She's like, he knows. He's aware. He's like an in tune guy. Like he's getting it.
I mean, I even feel like he already knows what he wants to do and just, like, won't kinda pull the trigger on it.
Right. He has hesitation because she says he doesn't know if it's the right decision. It's like, what are the outcomes going to be for here or for here? This seems like the logical thing, and it's that logic that's holding him back from this because this is a jump of faith. And she's like, but he knows in his heart what he needs to do with
Mhm.
that. And he needs to kind of, don't want to say brave because it's not that he's not brave, but he needs to like suspend his logic and trust for just a second to do this. And she's saying
Mhm.
that if he makes that trust, it's going to be a pivotal point in your life and you guys will be supported and you'll be taken care of. So he needs to not be afraid of the sacrifices and the demands of that. He will be taken care of. She wants to assure him, give him a little bit of confidence in pulling that trigger. But she says, you too are a valuable counsel. He listens to the words that you say. Like he listens to your opinion and he really values it. And so she's like, you should pray about it. You should get an answer. And whatever your answer is can validate him and help him have the
That
confidence
makes
also
sense.
to make an informed decision. Do you have, let me see about this. Is there a sister? Do you have a sister?
Yeah, I have a living sister.
Yeah. Yeah. Not on the other side. A living sister.
Yes.
She's talking about a sister. Um, she is she's showing me that your sister had a really hard time with your mother's passing. That she's still struggling quite a lot from that, from like that, the handling of the grief and the pressure of the grief. And she's having a hard time understanding kind of the concept of death and what it's taken from your family. It seems to have very strongly impacted her life and she's in an emotional slump. I don't know if I would call it a depression, but like there's definitely an emotional
Yeah,
slump.
she has been for, like, the last
Yeah.
6 months or something.
And it's starting to impact her life, like her um either her occupation or schooling or something that she's going through. Like it's starting to take its toll on her relationships and the people around her. Um, your mother says, would you understand that she was a person of faith? Like she
Mhm.
was strong in something. It seems like it's starting to kind of impact her faith a little bit as well and take a hit on some of the things that she might have believed. She's not sure she'd be open to this kind of concept, this kind of thing, but she wants, if you feel comfortable, she wants you to assure her that she's still with her and that particularly I think your sister feels her sometimes but doesn't want to recognize that. Something about that maybe scares her. She's
Mhm.
uncomfortable with it. Would that make sense to you? Do you have any idea about this?
Yeah, she's told me that she's had some dreams, and she just is, like, not sure if it should be, like, like if she should brush it off or if it's like
Yes,
intentional.
exactly. Your mom wants to tell her, yes, she has come to her and she has felt her, and that she is still with her, and that she needs to know that because she is unsure about it. And this is causing her like a stumbling block in moving forward with her grief because she feels very cut off from your mom, very separate. And she needs her to know she's not, that your mother is still with her and that she has felt her, that she has had experiences and she has known her. And she says she questions to know whether they're real or not. She wants to know whether it really was your mom. And she says the difference, the way that she can tell is if she comes with a feeling of love. If she feels that love, she will know that it is your mom that's with her in that moment, in that dream, or in that circumstance. That is the deciding factor. Um, I think there's something wrapped up in like she's afraid of if she's making it up or if it's something negative that's trying to like influence her or something. If she should really put belief into it, your mom is saying if there's love there, if she can feel my love for her, she knows it's true. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you have those same questions
Sometimes, but in a different way.
in a different way?
And I just always kind of assumed, I guess, that she would be. You know, she
Yeah.
just like cared so much that I couldn't imagine her stepping back.
Slipping away. For you, for your sister, it seems more like fear of being wrong based. For you, it feels more like just unsure. You're like, was that her? Is that in that moment, was that her? And it's almost so casual that you're like unsure whether or not to mark that thing. Like, oh yes, that was mom. Does that make
Yeah.
sense to you?
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes I'll like hear her voice in my head, like, and it's like,
yeah.
was it a memory or was it
Was this her
her?
talking to me?
Yeah.
She's like almost okay. She's saying sometimes it might be a memory with her, but she kind of laughs about that and she's like, well, it doesn't matter anyway because I would always talk to you. Like, of course I'm going to talk
Like
to
I
you.
would
So
have
if you
done
want
it
to assume
anyway.
that, then it's probably me. Like it doesn't even matter. And she's like, even if it wasn't me, it's going to be me next time. So it doesn't really even matter. She seemed like she was very, very present in your life. Like you had a very close connection. It was one of those things where you would go see her all the time or be on the phone with her all the time or getting texts from her all the time. Like it was a very close relationship. And so she's like,
Mhm.
she has every intention of pursuing that now. Like it's still going to be a very close relationship. It's just going to be in a different way. And if you pay attention to those moments, she's saying that they're going to build up and you're going to start seeing her like literally all over the place in your life. Like she can't not be in your business. Oh, but she draws a line here. She's like, well, there's some things. Okay. She shows me your bedroom door closing and she's like, we stop here. Like it doesn't go beyond. She says she'll stay out of your marriage. She's like, that is yours. You have that. Okay, grandmother on the other side is a bit pushy. Is this mom's mom that we're talking to? No? Did they have, she's really, would you recognize either one of your grandmothers who had more of like a stronger personality? Somebody who was a little more, not necessarily forceful, but firm. Firm in their opinion and the things that they would tell
Decisive.
you. Decisive is a good word for it, yes. She says she knows her own mind. That's the way she wants to phrase it. She knows her own mind.
Yeah, that's fair.
She's like sidestepping into mom, but mom is allowing it. So I'm assuming they had like a fairly decent relationship.
Mhm.
Mom seems to be familiar with the ways that that grandmother would add her input into things, whether or not it was asked for. It seems to be something that was offered. Would this make sense?
I think so.
Are you in school or did you just recently graduate a couple of years ago?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I just graduated in 22.
Okay. Grandma just has a real quick comment that she wants to tell you. She's really proud of you for pursuing education and doing really well with that. I feel like it's something you really put your mind to. And she feels like she didn't really have access to education as a young person or even as an adult, I guess. It was something that she always wanted for herself, but she never was able to pursue. So she is admiring you for putting like your heart into that and graduating. And she says it's something that you wanted to do. Like you picked something that you wanted to do. Does that track for you? And
Mm-hmm.
she is so happy that you pursued that over something really sensible so that you could be happy with the choices that you pursue. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really sweet, actually. I started studying physics in college and I switched to marketing so that I could be a full-time artist.
There you go.
So I
Yeah, that
make a lot
totally
of art.
tracks. I just got chills for that. It very much, she's showing me that it was a track switch because you were doing something that you felt like was practical. Like you could do this and you could get a job and you were going to do this, but your heart longed for something else and you trusted that. She's paralleling this with your husband. You
Yeah.
trusted that and you made a jump, and this is something that you're really happy doing and that you have fulfillment in. And because you have joy in doing this, you will have success in doing this, and doors are going to open up for you. And she says that it is also allowing you flexibility to devote other attention to things that need attention, like family life and stuff like that. Like it's going to be something that is flexible enough for you. She's talking about working from home. Do you work from home or something? Do you have that
I did for
capability?
like 2 years, and
Okay.
right now I'm working at a school, but that's like kind of a side gig to my
Right.
work from home jobs that I have.
She's saying that this is going to allow you the flexibility to work from home, to do something that you can do so you can be present in the home at some point. Um, which may not have been an option open to you had you had the other career path. And she is talking about, this is interesting. It's such like a millennial mindset, but she's not. So it's interesting she's bringing this up. She's saying her generation put an emphasis on the practicality of doing something because it was demanded of you, not something because it made you happy. And she's like, there's a balance there, and we completely missed it. And now this generation is like swinging the other way. But she's like, you're able in this place because you followed your heart to find a balance, and it's going to work out really well for you. And she says it didn't take a small amount of bravery to make that choice. So she's really proud of you for doing that. And she's talking about like options have been offered to you after college for careers, and she's saying that there's still going to be options offered to you, and so you're going to be looked after with all the things that you're doing. You and your husband are going to be looked after. That's what she wanted to tell you. She's proud of you. She's really proud of
Aw.
you for she's like, you grew up good. You grew up really good. Also, she wants you to know that you're a really good person and that you
Aw.
are kind to people around you. And that is a quality that is really valuable. And she wants you to never give that up. Never give up kindness for any other thing, because that is, let me get just right what she's saying. That's the biggest gift you can give to anyone is kindness. That's all she
That's
wanted to
really
say.
sweet. Yeah, she passed away when I was kind of little. I think I was like 6. But I
Yeah,
had a really good relationship with her and her husband when I was small. And she was an artist herself, so I always like really
I
looked
love
up to her.
that. That's why she brought it
But
up.
yeah,
That's why
I
she's so
remember
proud.
like when she passed away, I remember being like surprised how much I like mourned her, I guess, cuz like I didn't realize how like much she had meant to me. And
That gives her a lot of very tender feelings. She shows me like I have this symbol of when they hand you their heart. That's like everything that you would imagine being encapsulated in that gesture, like all of the love, all of the concern, all of the delight and the sweet tender feelings. And she shows me like handing you her heart, and she brings it back to like you grew up well, you grew up good. She never got to be with you in your life to watch you become a mature adult, but she's with you now and she gets to see how you interact with people around you and the good things that you're doing. And she has a lot of pride in what a good person you are and that you get to make good choices and good interactions with people around you. That is seems to be a really big thing with her, of like the kindness and communication and connection with other people, is something that she really emphasizes as being an important characteristic, and it's one that you have chosen to emphasize in your life. Does that make sense for you? Can you relate to that?
yeah, yeah. I think that's always been a big part of like who I am, just like making space for people who need a friend, I guess.
Yeah. She wants to acknowledge that for you and comment on how very proud and pleased that makes her. Is there anything else that you would like to bring up that hasn't been covered already?
I don't really have any like specific questions going into it. It's just like there's a lot of people that I like love and miss, and like it's just nice to know that they're okay, I
They're there.
guess.
Do you happen to see a lot? You know that moment when like it's a cloudy day and the sun breaks through the clouds in like shafts and beams of light? Do you
Yeah.
happen to see that frequently? Or
Yeah.
notice it? They're picking this out as a sign from you. When you see that, do you get like a particular poignant feeling or like a really, um,
Yeah, I've always felt like God's way of comforting me on my bad days was pretty sunsets. Like every time
yeah,
I have a bad day, there's a pretty sunset, and I feel like it was painted for me. That's like been something I've kind of believed since like I don't know childhood, but just has always stood out. It happens like every time I have an awful day.
they're validating that for you. They want you to know that in that sunlight, as that comes down and you see that light, they're saying that you get like this joy. There's a feeling to that of like love and recognition and joy. They want to validate for you that you've always kind of thought that was special. They're like, yes, that is special. That's actually like your
Oh,
nod from heaven where they're noticing and they want you to notice that they're noticing. So it's like a little connection that you have and they want to validate that for you.
that's so cool.
They're like, every time.
Yeah, literally like since middle school. Like
Yeah,
it's crazy.
it's cool. It's like a special nod just for you. And it's like there is that feeling like everybody sees this. Like it's in the sky. So it's like a million people are looking at it right now.
Yeah,
But no, there's a special nod in that. And they want you to accept that that moment is just for you. Like take that because it's beautiful.
that's so
Oh,
cool.
that's it. When you wonder if you're interacting with those people, when you wonder if your mom is talking to you or gave you a thought or helping you with something, accept it. It's yes. They're there in that
Okay.
moment. Particularly your mom wants you to know that. You feel like you think about that a lot. You're like, is this her? Yes. The answer is yes. It's going to be
Yeah,
her because
especially when I'm painting.
yeah, she's talking your ear off.
Yeah.
Yes. She was artistic too, yeah.
Yeah, she was a design major and like used to
Yeah.
work for like a Timex watch company and stuff.
She's
I was
also
telling her.
really happy that you have found a channel to put this creativity into that can be like a productive for your family. She's also really proud of that. So I want to leave you with that. Making good choices.
Well, thanks.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much, Haley, for being here and being willing to be open and vulnerable and do this with us. Thank you so much, Elle. That was really awesome. Um, so cool. I got chills
Yeah,
and
thank you
goosebumps
guys. It
times.
was like kind of scary going into it, but I feel like you guys made the whole process like really like easy and helped me understand what was happening really clearly, and I just appreciate you both.
Yeah,
Perfect.
thank you for being here. This is a
Yeah, of
scary
course,
thing to
thank
do
you.
on the air.
I
You
know.
never know what's going to happen.
I was a little nervous, not gonna lie. My heart was pounding. But it's also a really cool opportunity, so I appreciate you guys inviting me into your space.
If you want to check
Thank
out
you.
Haley's art, we'll put a link for it
Yeah.
below so you can see what she does. She's really incredible.
Oh, you're
Also
very
in the
sweet.
link below, we'll have links to Elle and Camille if you guys want your own reading with them. And we'd love to hear your comments. We love if you subscribe and watch as soon as you can. We put out these episodes on Thursday nights at 5:30. So as soon as it hits your inbox, if you open it up and watch it, the algorithm loves that. But again, thank you so much for being here with us, and we'll see you next time.
Next time.